here we're doing comparison between distinctive characters. Distinctive, the word distinctive means it's specific to you, right? Or specific to somebody else. Therefore, you're going to be able to nitpick out the differences that they have. So let's go right into the example. So the rural opinion about the new young ladies, even among the cottagers, was generally in favor of Celia as being so amiable and innocent looking, while Miss Brooks' large eyes seemed like her religion too unusual and striking. Poor Dorothy, compared with her, the innocent looking Celia was knowing and worldly wise. So they're comparing three people here, right? So unlike dialogue, comparisons can be made in very high quantities. You could compare 1,000 people if you really wanted to, but that you would have to write a lot. Okay, that would be a lot of writing. So the way people are compared here is through, I would say, very descriptive wordplay. It's not just one word, right? So I imagine a lazy student would just say Celia looks innocent compared to Miss Brooke. You don't want to do that. So here we say among the other cottagers, Celia was generally in favor, right? Like she was favored by most people, and she was amiable and innocent looking, while Brooke's large eyes seem small. So the word while here is actually a word you use to compare people sometimes when you're describing kind of like a situation that they're in. So we could say, you know, Crystal seems very, you know, bored and just staring at the computer screen, while Isabella seems a little engaged with her birds, right? We use the word while there. Words used to compare them. You know, you can use the word while, you can use the word like, you can use the word unlike, you can use similar to, right? Comparing can include similarities and differences, okay? So for word like, you can do similar or similarities, okay? And then for the word unlike, you can do differences, okay? And while can also be used for differences, and similar to can also be used for similarities, obviously, you know, the word similar is in there, okay? So when we think of it this way, it's actually pretty simple, right? We can actually, let me just do this. Let's just line them up nicely so you guys can kind of just grasp it. It's just easier to read this way, all right? So we have the words similar to, like, as comparing similarities. And then we have unlike and while would contrast the differences, okay? Let's do an example, okay? So one, we can do, let's do similarity first. Similarity. We can do Stanley, and Stanley is a Christian member of the church, like his sister Angelina, okay? That would be a similarity comparison. I thoroughly enjoy the sport volleyball, unlike my friends who really hate touching grass in general. And this would just be a simple example, but you see here, like I notice this a lot in your writing. You guys don't use adjectives to kind of extend your sentences and, you know, be more descriptive and emphasize certain things. So an example here is the word thoroughly, right? I thoroughly enjoy the sport volleyball. Many people or many students that I come across, they'll just say, I enjoy volleyball, right? But I'm extending the sentence here to make it roll off the tongue better by saying, not only am I using the word thoroughly, you know, to describe something, I'm also saying the sport volleyball versus I enjoy volleyball, okay? That is a very like level 0.5 answer, okay? We're trying to get maximum marks here, right? So the more descriptive you are, while making your sentence make sense, the higher marks you're gonna get, right? The more marks you're gonna get. So basically the lazier you are with your writing, the poorer you're gonna get on your test in general, right? And just in your writing as well. So eventually you guys will be asked to write journal entries, and they might be weekly, they might be daily. If they're daily, you guys have to work really hard. But especially if they're weekly, you're going to get marked once a week on your journal entries, right? You want your writing to sound as good as possible and to make it as long as possible, right? For English, at least when you're writing creatively, more is better. When you're trying to talk about informational stuff, like if you're trying to do research and describing the research and the results, you want to be concise. That's when you make it short, but then you would have to use big words to kind of summarize your ideas, okay? But the main point here is you want to be more descriptive with your sentences. I want you guys to take out your notebooks, or if you're typing on a computer, I want you guys to describe and compare you and your best friend. Be descriptive and then compare the two of you to each other, okay?
My best friend is very energetic while I would mostly spend my time writing or reading books. Unlike me, she would call a bunch of friends over to hang out with her, while I would hang out with only one or two other people. My best friend is also a little dramatic. She would overreact on certain things that I don't. Similar to my best friend, we both like to create art such as songs and drawings of ourselves. We both love to draw cute sketches and create comics of ourselves in the future. Like me, she is very smart and can solve hard problems in just a few minutes. We both like talking about cute animals and what we would like as pets. We both have we also have a cute nickname that everyone in our class would call us.
This was kind of like a small practice to just get your minds right and think about, okay, if I were to describe something, this is easy, right? Because you know your best friend, you know yourself, I hope, and you're able to contrast and compare the two, whether it be similarities or differences. And there's a lot of things you can grab to talk about, right? Because you've known them for so long, you've known yourself for so long. So talk about, like, always refer to this if you guys are having trouble, refer to their similarities and differences, okay? And try and get that. We'll do 5 minutes this time, okay? Since you guys had practice, so let's do it.
Mom, who is hardworking and efficient, doesn't like to spend her time playing video games. All she does is work and sometimes chats WeChat. My dad, on the other hand, is a whole different story. He loves playing video games, looking at TikTok, and watching TV. My dad and my mom both have to work super hard, though. My dad works from 2 o'clock in the afternoon straight to 1 o'clock in the morning. My mom has to work all afternoon, which is way better. My mom likes to eat healthy, while my dad likes eating fast food and brings me to Burger King and McDonald's every weekend.
Okay, you had a sentence in there that was very good. Something that you definitely would use when doing a compare and contrast piece of writing. So you said, my dad, on the other hand, is a different story, right? That is really good. That is implying that you're comparing, and you instantly imply as well that you're comparing something that's different about the two things that you're comparing, right? That's really good. If you guys ever want to use that trick, in your writing, this, on the other hand, is a different story. We can actually include this over here as well. I feel like these are really good transitions. So on the other hand, okay, so your differences, and then you can do, so-and-so underline is a different story. I also like how you included my opinion, right? Oftentimes you might get slandered by teachers and students alike as you get older, because we'll just say statements, right? We might say, cheese sucks, but we think cheese sucks, right? We might offend somebody who likes cheese because they clearly think cheese is good, right? Stanley is very vocal about his love for cheese, or he likes cheese, right? But if you heard somebody just say cheese sucks, you'd be a little offended, right? Like, why are you saying that? But if he said, I think cheese sucks, right? If the person said, I think cheese sucks, then you'd be a little less offended. You're like, so yeah, using my opinion is good to state. It's a very good way to be. It also shows bias, right? Because in persuasive essays in the future, you're trying to persuade the other person, right? So I'll give you guys a detailed description of how I would be doing this, okay? And you guys can take a screenshot and maybe you can refer to this later on. So my parents are quite the odd couple. One of them is a very detail-oriented business person, while the other is a fierce and passionate, I would say, entrepreneur with a fiery, actually with a simple goal in mind, to win. Okay. And my mother is always trying to exercise her right to change up the household and its features, while my father is always thinking of new things to conquer in his work and life. Yes, I wanted you guys to be very descriptive and mention many things, but I also just wanted you guys to have more like a body of writing. If I were to describe the writing, and this is not just one student or two students in the class, this is every student, the writing in general lacks a lot of body to it, okay? So if I were to describe your writing, it's not like a healthy human being, it's like a skeleton with like some skin on it. Okay, you want to be able to use descriptive words. You want to be able to use clever wordplay. Like Isabella did a good one with which was, you know, my dad is a different story, right? That was good. You know, that would net you some marks on a test, right? Because you're using clever wordplay. Not only are you, you know, it was clever wordplay, plus you were insinuating you're comparing something. You're comparing the differences between something. So that was really good, okay? I like that you use different wordplay there, and that's what I want to see from everyone.